Winter pressed on, long and heavy. The kind of winter that seeped into bones, that blurred days together under a sky the color of tin. Boston's streets were choked with slush, sidewalks lined with salt, everyone walking with hunched shoulders and hurried steps. But Allison kept running. Not because it was easy, it wasn't, but because it reminded her that she could push forward even in the bleakest seasons. And often, Daniel and Cooper were there too, their company turning the frozen mornings into something almost bearable. They grew closer in small ways. A shared thermos of coffee after a run. A text message, "You survived Monday," that made her laugh out loud. A walk through the bookstore where Daniel insisted Cooper had excellent taste in literature because he sniffed only the philosophy shelf. It was slow, steady, unforced. Like snow falling on the river until ice formed layer by layer. Still, Allison carried the weight of what she hadn't said. David's name pressed against her throat whenever conversation grew quiet. Daniel didn't ask, but she knew he must have wondered, why her smile sometimes faltered, why her gaze drifted toward shadows. The moment came unexpectedly. It was late February, and the three of them had walked longer than planned. The sun had set, leaving the city wrapped in twilight. They stopped at a bench overlooking the frozen river, Cooper collapsing happily at their feet. Daniel rubbed his gloved hands together, breath puffing in the cold. Hard to believe spring's only a month away. Doesn't feel like it. Spring always feels far until suddenly it's here, Allison said softly. He nodded, then glanced at her. You ever notice how sometimes, people feel like that too? Distant, until they're not. The words hung between them. Allison felt her heart thud against her ribs. She could keep the silence. She could smile, nod, let the moment slip past. But something inside her stirred. The need to tell the truth, to stop hiding in shadows. She drew in a shaky breath. There's something I haven't told you. Daniel's expression shifted, open, patient. You don't have to if you're not ready. I think I am, she whispered. Her fingers curled into her coat pocket as if bracing herself. I was with someone. His name was David. We were serious. He left last year. Not in a tragic way, no car accident, no sudden illness. Just, he walked away. And I haven't been the same since. The air felt brittle, every word fragile. She kept her eyes on the river, afraid to see his reaction. For a long moment, Daniel said nothing. Then, gently, thank you for telling me. She blinked, surprised. You're not going to ask for details. Not unless you want me to. It's your story, Allison. You get to tell it how you choose. Something in her chest cracked, not in the painful way it had so many nights before, but in a way that let air rush in. No judgment. No pity. Just acceptance. She swallowed hard, voice trembling. I thought if I said his name out loud, it would shatter me again. But, it doesn't. Not the same way. Daniel leaned forward, elbows on his knees, gaze fixed on the river. You know, when my dad died, I thought saying his name would undo me too. For months I avoided it. Then one day I said it, and instead of breaking, I felt like I was carrying him with me again. Lighter, somehow. Her breath caught. She turned to him, really looking, and saw her own grief reflected in a different shape. They sat in silence after that, the kind of silence that wasn't empty but full. Cooper snored softly at their feet. The river glinted under the streetlights, ice fractured like veins of glass. Finally, Allison whispered, "Thank you, Daniel." He gave a small smile. For what? For letting me be messy. For not trying to fix it. Some things aren't meant to be fixed, he said quietly. Just carried. That night, back in her apartment, Allison opened her notebook. Her hand trembled, but the words poured out. His name is David. For months I buried it, afraid the sound would slice me open. But tonight I said it, and instead of bleeding, I breathed. Maybe names don't break us. Maybe they remind us that love doesn't vanish, it transforms. And maybe healing is learning to speak without fear. She set down the pen, pressing her palm to the page. For the first time, she didn't feel like she was betraying him by moving forward. She felt like she was honoring him by living fully. And when she finally turned out the light, the room didn't feel as cavernous as before.